let's stay with the president's address, because Ramaphosa also announced a team to cut the red tape, if you like, for all businesses in South Africa. In that address last night, he said that this will improve the business environment for companies and identify priority reforms for the year ahead. In case you missed it, here it is. Take a listen.
We are reviewing the Business Act alongside a broader review of legislation that affects small and medium enterprises to reduce the regulatory burden on informal businesses. We have found that there are too many regulations in our economy and our country that are unduly complicated, costly, and difficult to comply with. Now, this prevents companies from growing and creating jobs. Now, we are therefore working to improve the business environment for companies of all sizes through a dedicated capacity in the presidency to reduce red tape. If we are to make progress in cutting unnecessary bureaucratic delays for businesses, we need dedicated capacity with the means to make changes.
All right, so let's make sense of this now. President of the South African SMME Forum is Tebogo Khaas, who joins us now via our Link for his reflection on this announcement and many other issues relating to entrepreneurship in South Africa. Tebogo, it's great to have you on the program, sir. Thanks very much indeed for making time. So already some people have pointed out that on the one hand, the president who leads a government has a department which is seemingly creating this red tape. On the other hand, he's created an office within his own presidency to cut the red tape. Were you at all, excited by the announcement made by the president yesterday?
Excited might be stretching it, but hopeful, yes, we are. But, what this does is just, it's just a sad indictment on the Minister of Trade and Industry, in the sense that it shows that he has failed to remove the regulatory burden that is affecting small businesses or businesses of any size, for that matter. And for the president to accept that function into the presidency itself just shows that he has no faith at all that the minister will ever overcome that. And we are guardedly optimistic because in Sipho Nkosi, we believe that the president has roped in somebody who's got a better understanding of what it takes to run a business, because most of our ministers, including our Minister of Trade and Industry, has never been anywhere near a business or even a till or a Konakeffe till, for that matter, to even understand what he talks about when he talks about regulatory burden. But having said that, we are mindful of the fact that Mr. Nkosi might not necessarily be able to deal with the beast that is the regulatory, the bureaucratic initiative that's going to meet in the presidency itself, because things don't move at all, even within the presidency itself, in spite of the president being there.
Yeah. So from your response, what I'm gauging is that you also agree with those who are saying that, in fact, this is a task that should be dealt with by the minister. This is almost a duplication of duties, so to speak, which I guess points to a greater problem.
Absolutely. It just doesn't make too much sense, because to remove the burden, it means you must deal with somebody within where the burden exists. The burden doesn't exist in the presidency. The burden would exist within the ministry or the ministries, because you must also don't forget the Small Business Development Ministry also is involved in all this. So yes, certainly it's just another layer. Do we call him a regulatory tsar or regulatory burden tsar? I don't know. But whatever the function is, or whatever the title might be, we still believe that there's a lot that needs to be done within the ministry itself, that which, notwithstanding the fact that somebody else external has been appointed, may be resolved.
Given that, in a stroke of irony, do you envision this new office within the presidency ironically actually creating more red tape, contrary to what the ambition of the actual objective is here?
We might think of it very as a joke, but in actual fact, it could very well be. Our experiences with the presidency has been very much not so great. I'll give you an example. For the past 6 weeks, we've been trying to get a meeting with anybody, or even anything, including a chair in the presidency. We have just been rebuffed. All we get is automated responses via email. When you call people, you speak with individuals, they pull you from one pillar to the other. And nothing moves in the presidency. Will it change with Mr. Nkosi being around then? I don't think so, and I don't believe so. And Lord behold, we believe every year there's promises after promises, but nothing changes.
Yeah, we've even lost track of how many task teams have been created since back in 2018, which is when some people started counting. But that being said, if we are to take the optimistic outlook, where should Mr. Nkosi start, Mr. Sipho Nkosi, who's been tasked with leading this team, if he is to get this right?
Look, in fairness, not that nothing, the current ministry hasn't done much, because if you look at things like how the CIPC has been overhauled, that's a plus on his side, because it used to take long to register or to even reserve a name of a company. Now it can happen instantaneously on their BIS portal or CIPC itself. So that is something that maybe to applaud them for. But having said that, there's quite a lot of changes that Mr. Nkosi would have to deal with, including the fact that issues such as submissions of annual returns needs to be a bit of improvements on the speed with this such a process, and also a new dispensation ought to also be put in place to ensure that small businesses don't be overburdened with submission of annual returns. Can you imagine somebody running a small tuck shop in the middle of Alex or Davidson, having to find an internet place to log in so that they can file in their annual returns? It's just burdensome. And for somebody who might not even turn over $1 million or maybe not even 10 million per annum, that's for me, even if it means they're just filing a zero return, the fact that they have to go and do that function itself ought to be considered and removed completely. That includes the same thing with the SARS. We need to ensure that small businesses up to a certain threshold are exempted from even filing, their tax return, as long as they can show that they haven't generated income of, say, over 10 million per annum. They should be allowed to file zero returns. Make life easy for small businesses. But the most important and the elephant in the room is the labor regime. Small businesses are still treated the same as large businesses, and as you know or appreciate, small businesses don't have the kind of resources to be able to deal with HR issues, to be able to comply with X, Y, and Z, and to compete with large businesses who may have staff who fill those positions to check the ancillary activities of a company. So that also, we need to find a dispensation where things like minimum wages ought to be pegged. The small business ought not to be treated the same way as big businesses are concerned. So those are some of the issues. The list is quite, lengthy, but I'm sure that Mr. Nkosi, if he is, and I believe that he will be committed to this, he'd consult widely and ensure that he's accessible, unlike the minister or the ministry, which is aloof. And hopefully by listening to business and also having come from the business environment himself, he'd better be able to appreciate, or such a proposal would land on a fertile ear for action.
Yeah, you certainly get the sense that removing barriers to entry by sorting out the red tape is just the first step for an incredibly long journey ahead if businesses in this country are to thrive. Thank you so much for your reaction and your take on this. Really do appreciate your time. Tebogo Khaas is the president of the South African SMME Forum, joining us there via our video link. Thanks once again.